What's going on, everybody? What's happening? Welcome back to the bullshit. Hopefully y'all are doing well out there. I figured I better get a video out. I haven't had one out in a while, and I appreciate y'all hitting me up, wondering where I'm at and what's going on. So I just wanted to give you a little update, talk a little bit of nonsense, share some stuff that I've recently learned, because I keep learning new stuff about trucking, right? Because it keeps changing. Well, obviously I'm at the house, right? So we had to have a little change there. I know what you're thinking, right? Go back to the old job hopper stuff, right? I get it. I'll be the first to admit that like 5 years ago or so, something like that, I was quitting jobs that were pretty good jobs. But I was just making money, and I was picky back then, and I had shit going on. So I just did what I did, because that's how I roll. Prior to that, I held my jobs 3-5 years or so. That ain't too bad for OTR, right? Well, lately I've been working a bunch of crappy ones over the last 3 years, because as we all know, trucking took a huge dump. On the job hopper part, man, like if you're a non-productive employee, the company fires you, right? And that's okay. If companies are, taking a loss on a contract, then they drop that contract or whatever. But if you're working there and you're sitting around for free, or you're not getting your home time, or you're not getting the money that they advertised, which is pretty much normal, or whatever will work for you, and then you quit and you go to try and better yourself and get other jobs, then you're a job hopper. Isn't that crazy? But they can burn through employees with a high turnover rate, and we're not allowed to judge them on it. They're just allowed to judge us, right? So that's the job hopper part. I'm making the transition, right? Now I will say, like, OTR is not horrible. I used to love OTR, man. Like all the adventure, all of the lifestyle, everything. Like, honestly, that was kind of part of my divorce, is my former wife wanted me to come off the road, and I just wouldn't come off the road, because I liked that job. I didn't want to go get a different job. That was my job, right? It's always had its downfalls, the lifestyle downfalls and shit like that. You're either OTR or you're not, as far as that stuff goes. It's always had a lot of dumb shit going on in it. But lately, man, you're sitting around for free a lot, dude. Like this last place, just to give you one little example. I sat in Phoenix for 4 days, supposedly waiting on a load, right? Come on, man. I mean, generally trucking companies, if you're not in a truck lane, they'll deadhead you out to get you in a truck lane. Well, Phoenix is only, 2 or 3 hours from the Mexican border? And it's also a truck lane. You can find a load out of Phoenix. If you can't find a load out of Phoenix, man, you ain't finding a load nowhere, right? No, what they wanted to do is they wanted me to sit there so that they could wait for a higher paying load, right? So they can make more money. Well, I sit there for free for 4 days. And that's just one example. There was multiple days sitting around. One of my last runs out, I was out for like 2 weeks. I stayed out for a month. But in a 2-week period, I did 3 34-hour restarts. That's how much I was sitting around. And they were actually over 34, And then the not getting you home thing goes back to the other company. As I was saying, in the past, because I had worked for that company before, the deal was I come home every other weekend, every 2 weeks, right? Dude, I was getting home about every 3 or 4 weeks. They just won't get you home. Or they got illegal or dangerous equipment, shit like that. And it's not just that company. That was one of the better ones. That's getting to be all a bunch of nonsense as it is. Now, I will say, a lot of that's always kind of been like that in OTR. So a lot of it just falls back to like me burning out and not wanting to deal with that shit anymore. And then mostly, I just got to make that transition. For y'all who follow me, you know that I tried to do it last year. I went to Aldi and worked at Aldi. And I know some of you are going to be like, oh man, here we go again. Maybe I pop on here in a couple weeks and be like, oh look, I'm back over the road again. Who knows, man? But I'm just trying to make that transition, right? I'm going to double back on that Aldi thing a little bit. That I didn't mind that job. It didn't pay all that great. It was only like $1,500 a week. And then by the time you take out taxes and you don't get like per diem allowance and all that. The money wasn't all that good. But I didn't mind the job. I didn't mind unloading the trucks. I didn't mind driving the day cabs. I didn't mind all that stuff. I actually kind of liked it. That one 100% boiled down to like bad neighborhoods that I know some people just don't get, but 7 mile, 8 mile road in Detroit, northeast Detroit, Muskegon Heights, Benton Harbor, shit like that. It's not like I'm not familiar with it. I mean, I live in Lansing. We just had like 6 people get shot like a mile up the road last week. But it is just like no joke down in there, man. At 3 a.m. in the back alley, all alone with the store keys, alarm codes, alcohol, all that shit. It's just a matter of time before some jackass robs you or kills you or something. It's just stupid. It is just absolutely fucking stupid for a guy like me to go walking around in Detroit at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, man. It's just not even whatever with that whole thing, right? Other than that, I would have stayed at that place, right? Well, the whole deal is, right now, I'm at one of the large LTL companies. My age, my friends. I'm 50 years old, right? I'm coming up on retirement in, 15, 18 years, providing my health holds up. If this is the first time you ever watch one of my videos, yes, I had my shit together in the past. I was married for 25 years. I had 3 kids. I was a certified mechanic. My former wife had a good job. We were pretty wealthy. Like when we got divorced, the house was worth like $330,000. It was paid off. The vehicles were paid off. We had retirement, all that bullshit. Actually, that was our second house that we had paid off. So it's not like I was slacking. But when you get divorced, you pretty much lose everything. You know what I mean? If you don't lose it in a divorce, you probably get crazy and spend it like I did, right? Which I don't even regret, because I had some good times and all that nonsense, I bought Harleys and Silverados and all that nonsense, and I had fun, and I went on vacations, and I spent money. But the gig is up, man. Like, I have to seriously sit back and look at what I'm doing right now, or I'm going to be a homeless fellow, in the next decade or so. Because, like, my retirement, I just pulled my Social Security statement. I get like $2,800 a month Social Security, right? Well, that's not enough. And then you take 15, 18 years from now, that's not going to be very much at all. We can skip the whole we're not going to have Social Security later thing. We can take that over to Josh's channel. You know what I mean? If I don't have Social Security when I die, then I'm going to buy a fucking AR-15 and I'm going to take other people's bullshit. But I'm just trying to set it up the way I'm supposed to set it up. So I need a pension. You know what I mean? To go with that Social Security. I'm not going to be able to build like a huge pension because of the fact that I don't have much time to build the pension. But if you take what pension I build and put it with my Social Security and put it with the fact that, like, I don't know if I'm going to keep this trailer and retire in it, but I'm going to pay this one off. I only got like 6 more years, I think, 7 more years or something on it. It's 2022, so, it's not high-end living, but I'm too old to pay off a whole nother house. I have to have something paid off and my vehicle paid off and shit to be able to live on retirement, right? Kind of thinking ahead type shit. So preferably I'd like to live somewhere else when I retire, but at least I will have this home and I won't be homeless if shit doesn't work out the way I want it to work out. And I gotta have health care. The large LTL companies, they can actually give you reasonably priced benefits, and you also get short-term, long-term disability. Shit, from day one, they started me out with $50,000 life insurance, shit like that, right? I just need that stability. Overall, I like OTR better, you know what I mean? So where I'm at right now, a lot of people wouldn't like the job. I spend more time as a dock worker than I do actually driving the truck. And my day basically consists, I'm actually on nights. They wanted me to go on days, but that's P&D, that's pickup and delivery. You're running around 10, 15 stops a day, pallet here, pallet there, that type of shit, and traffic and all that. I was like, man, fuck all that bullshit, dude. I'll take the night line haul, where I just go to the same place all the time. Actually pays better. And I like working nights because I don't got to deal with the traffic, and I don't got to deal with people, and I don't got to deal with bullshit. So basically my job at this point right now, it's only like 10 minutes down the road is where the depot is at. I go over there, I load my truck, I drive like 2 hours away with the truck. I work the dock at that depot, and I go to the same depot every night unless a driver calls in or something and I gotta cover a different one. I get down there, I do work like 4 or 5 hours on their dock. Like, I might go out and spot trailers, I might work the forklift and load trailers, like not just my trailer, like everybody's trailer, and unload trailers, take inventory, do shit like that. So you do 4 or 5 hours on the dock there. You load your truck there, you bring your truck back up here, unload it. It has to be taken care of up here because you're going to have like 2 pallets that are going here, 3 that are going here, 1 that's going here. So when I'm unloading my truck up here, it's all on a hand scanner. It'll tell you like, these 2 pallets go in this trailer, these 3 go in this trailer, this blah, blah, blah. I'm basically loading the trailers for the morning P&D guys, right? And then I'm done and I come home. I don't have to worry about where I'm going to park. I don't have to worry about none of the bullshit. I'm not sitting around for free guarding someone else's truck and someone else's load, all that nonsense. When I'm done, I'm done. I'm free. I'm at home, I'm not in that damn truck no more. Now, like I said, I'm not completely burned out on over the road. I'm going to miss it a little bit. But it's just time to make that transition, I mean, it's a little weird for me wearing a freaking uniform, dude. I haven't worn a uniform in like 20 years, at least I'm not trashing my own clothes, I guess. But, there's stuff like that. You're working with other people. There's company policies, right down to the cigarette smoking. That's actually good for me because as an OTR driver, I smoke a cigarette like every 5 minutes. No, I don't necessarily get to smoke a cigarette very often and shit like that. But financially and all that, that's good. I mean, speaking of that, like just being home and like buying bulk hamburger and shit like that and freezing it and breaking it up and putting it in there. Holy crap, how much money we spend out on the road to freaking eat garbage food, man. I am like eating way better and saving a shit ton of money doing it. It's all just kind of a lot of bullshit with OTR nowadays because everything like that and all the other stuff that went with it, yeah, it was worth it when I paid $90,000, $100,000 a year. But fuck, you're barely pulling goddamn $70,000 a year out on that piece of shit road nowadays. So they can take that and shove it up their ass. No, if this job hits, shit hits the fan at this job and I can't get into another place or something like that, then absolutely I'm going to go back over the road. I have to. I can't just sit here forever. I'm not rich. If you take with the time off I took, basically in the last year and a half, I took almost an entire year off. Financially, you don't think I took a fucking hit on that? Hell yes, man. Like there went a whole bunch of savings right there. A whole bunch of my retirement money right there, right? Now, I will say with the LTL companies, it takes some time to get hired into them, huh? Like weeks and a bunch of nonsense, man. And they do extensive checks. I mean, I know it ain't like the old days where I'd make a phone call, talk to a person on the phone. They'd be like, all right, come over and meet with us. Come over and meet with them. We do the deal. I take a drug test, come back in a couple days, throw my shit in the truck, take off. So I'm out on the road in like 4 days or whatever, right? I can understand that. The OTR companies are dragging their ass, taking a week or two nowadays to get your process as it is, which I think is bullshit for an OTR company to do that. That's fucking nonsense. But these LTLs, boy, they find some shit, man. They do like extensive background checks because, I mean, some of it, like if you only work at a job for like a month or whatever, do you put that on your fucking application? No, OTR companies never catch it. These LTL ones do. I mean, they find stuff. You think that like, driving a rig, and maybe getting your hazmat and all that. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. I'm still in the process of getting my hazmat, so I still got to get that out of the way. Hell, they said it would be a month before I can even get in and get fingerprinted. Because hazmat's a little more than what I realized. It's not like going and get my tanker endorsement where I just took the test at the DMV. I also have to do that. But you got to get a TSA background check through Homeland Security. So that takes up to a couple months. Like I said, I'm a month out just before I can even get in to get my fingerprints and shit done on that. But what I'm saying is like you can drive an 80,000 pound rig, you can haul hazmat, you can do all that relatively easy. Now, not as easy as back in the day when I started. I just went to the DMV and got my CDL and took a road test at the with the DMV guy, rented a truck. They just sent me out on the road, and I just crashed into a bunch of shit until I figured it out. I understand you guys got to go to truck driving school and shit now for weeks and months and lots of money and all that stuff. But you know what's harder than getting in as a truck driver? A fucking Uber driver, man. Because last year, I applied to be an Uber driver because I was just tired. When I was off, when I was tired of all the bullshit, I was like, I'm just going to drive fucking Uber for a while. It'll supplement my losses. And then I can just make a little bit of money doing that. I got denied through Uber. And I'm saying that because it relates to these people finding this deal. Alright, way back in like 2018 after I got divorced, I was at a bar. Imagine that, right? And I picked up these two women at the bar. And I brought them back to my apartment. And one of them was not drinking. I don't know if she was doing drugs, but I never seen her drink or do drugs the entire night. I was chilling with her friend. Me and her friend were getting lit up, right? So the one, she got bored. She wanted to go about 45 minutes north to meet up with her boyfriend who was getting out of work. I'm like, hell yeah, man. Road trip. Let's do that shit, right? Well, we get in my truck and we take off and we're heading up that way. And we get into an accident, like a bad accident. Like you could see tracks, and then for like, I don't know, 20 yards or so, 10 yards, something like that, no tracks, and then we were into the trees. So like we ramped off the expressway, right? Like bad enough to get out of the truck, you had to climb in the back seat and go out the back window of the truck to even get out of it, because it was sucked. It was a really nice truck. All right, so we get out of the truck and we're taking off and getting the fuck out of here. And then I'm like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? I can't just take off. That's my truck. I gotta run it through insurance. It was like a $60,000 truck. All this shit, you guys go ahead. I went over to the motel, which was 100 yards away. I called the police. Police kind of suck most of the time. As I'm waiting in the lobby, because I had the lady in the lobby call the law for me because my phone was dead, because I was using my phone to play music at the bar and shit all night, so it legit was dead. The police come straight in. Now, all they got is a phone call saying there's an intoxicated man in the lobby who wants to report an accident. They didn't say he was being belligerent. They didn't say nothing like that. I was literally just sitting over there minding my business. They come in, put me right on the fucking lobby floor and handcuffed me. So you pretty much knew where this whole thing was going to go, right? They have no idea what even happened yet. Throw me in the cop car. We go back to the scene of the accident. This guy's all pissed off, right? Says I was driving the truck. I said, I wasn't driving the truck, man. I'm from this city. I know where they're going. If you get in your car right now and go, because there was two cops there, you'll catch them. They're walking. They're still walking. They can't be there yet. Oh, no, they're cops. They don't want to do all that bullshit, right? So they're going to charge me with DUI. That can't happen. Just so you know, that can't happen. They got to see you driving. Maybe have witnesses. That might fly, but your lawyer could probably still get you off on that whole deal. And I wasn't driving, so you're not going to see me or have witnesses. And you don't want to go catch the woman who was driving or anything like that. You just want to charge me with a DUI. So I'm like, man, what the fuck, whatever, dude. Well, they get pissed because they realize that's not going to fly. It's going to be just a wasted charge. So he just charges me with failure to report an accident. Well, I'm like, how in the fuck did I fail to report an accident? I walked 100 yards and called the accident immediately. These dudes are some up north, redneck, Michigan ass fucking bullshit cops, right? They are basically intimidating me on the side of the road. I'm handcuffed. It's 4 a.m. or whatever. I'm out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And they're acting like they want to beat me down on the side of the road. Now, I would imagine 10, 20 years ago, they would have beat me down on the side of the road. And I wasn't exactly being belligerent. I mean, I was drunk, and drunk people are annoying. But I wasn't being belligerent. So at that point, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? So he charges me a failure to report an accident. Well, think about that. How the fuck does that roll? Well, I go to court, I fight it, I win, right? Well, I got charged with it. I didn't get convicted. Most of y'all understand what I'm saying. There's a big difference between being charged and convicted. And then there's all kinds of other stuff. There's deferred and all kinds of other shit out there, right? Well, for the Uber, it showed up that I got charged with it. And Uber denied me to even drive their bullshit, non-paying fucking nonsense. So fuck Uber. But it came up with this LTL company. They didn't give us much of a fuck. They just called and wanted to know what was going on with it, and I explained to them what happened with the whole deal. And you can't just run people on what they got charged with, because you can get charged for anything. The cops can walk up to the door right now and charge me with all kinds of shit. And there's really no retribution on the cop. Like, it doesn't really hurt the cop all that much, you know? So what? It just goes to court and hogs up the fucking court system, right? So I had that whole shit show up. Well, then, my PSP, right? Y'all remember me telling you that story, I don't know, years back. I got fucked. Like, to give you an idea, that guy ended up going out of business and still owed me like $3,000. He was that type. I did that truck recovery in Salt Lake City for him. I flew out on an airplane and got the truck. I got out, the truck had issues, of course, right? All I had was my backpack and 2 coats. I was using 1 coat for a pillow, 1 coat for a blanket. So you get my point. I was rough and shit bad. I knew the stuff was wrong with the truck. It wasn't serious. It was like the trailer needed a federal annual inspection. I don't remember. ABS light was on. There was a couple other smaller things. It wasn't a safety issue at all. It was a legal issue. So I get caught on the way back. I know I shouldn't have drove the truck, but I was roughing it and I just wanted to get the fucker back. So I rack up all that shit. Now, mind you, I was at that point like 1.75 million miles and never had any violations. So this wasn't a normal deal for me. I don't even normally do truck recoveries, man. It was just a stupid fucking thing. Don't ever do those. But I get hit with all that stuff. Now, one of them on there is kind of fucked because like when I got out there, I looked at the IFTA sticker. It was valid. I looked at the paperwork for the IFTA. It was valid. But when the scale looked it up, this guy's a douchebag, so he didn't pay his IFTA so that he wasn't active in the system or whatever. How would I know that? Like, I have no access to that information. I see the paper, I see the sticker. They charged me with that. Put it on my record that he didn't pay his IFTA or whatever. Like, think about that. Like, this is a fucked world we live in, trust me. So I had all that shit on there. It's actually all coming off in March, so it's only a couple months away. But they called me on that one, and they didn't like that. Now, these over-the-road companies, they never gave a fuck about none of that stuff. You know, those violations, they never even asked me about those, man. So you just had all that come up, so it killed the process. Well, then when they went to verify my employment, 2 of the companies I worked for went out of business, right? So they couldn't even get a hold of them to verify them. So, like, one I had to explain, like, I worked there for a year and a half, right? So look, 2 months in of what I'm saying on my resume, you can see the DOT inspection. Because, you know, even if it's a clean inspection, it'll still show up on your PSP as an inspection. And then you go, 9 more months into my employment there, I got another clean inspection, right? Well, I guess it shows that I fucking worked there, didn't it? All right? You don't need to get a hold of them. Okay, yeah, we'll send that back to safety. And okay, we gotta wait 2 days for them to respond on that one, right? Well, then you go into these stupid DAC reports. Like I keep telling you guys, man, these things are so stupid. The way I always explain it is like, you've got a girlfriend, everything's fine. You break up with her, you're the biggest douchebag in the world, and you were beating on her and everything else after that. She can say whatever she wants. That's how these trucking companies work. They're using you, basically. You're doing fine. You quit working there and they talk a bunch of shit about you. And the way I always say with the DAX, it's not like your credit report where like they say I didn't pay my car payment and I just go there and show them that I paid it, give them the receipt, and they got to take it off my credit report or whatnot. No, they can just put whatever they want on there and there's really no retribution. Like, try to do shit with Higher Right. Is who does the DAC reports, is Higher Right. So I've tried to get shit straightened out of there. They're idiots. It's a private company. It's all fucking nonsense, right? Alright, so you go into this one. First of all, I had this company out of Grand Rapids back in 2018 where I was going to go local at that point. I went there the first day. It was on day pay, like $300 a day or something. I went there the first day. They sent me home. I had to drive almost an hour to work every day. They sent me home. They didn't have no work. The second day, I go in, I work like a half a day, and they send me home. So then I'm only going to get a half a day's worth of pay. I go on the third day. They sent me home again. Like, didn't even call me at home and tell me or nothing, right? So, on the third day, of course, I went into dispatch. I gave them the fuel card. I gave them the keys to the truck. I said, this ain't gonna fucking work for me. I'm not gonna keep coming in here and not making money and have a good day. I walked. Well, they put on my DAC report. I worked there 3 days, but I only actually worked a half a day there. That they fired me. Well, how did they fire me if I came in and turned all my shit in, right? It's still on my DAC. I can't get that off. You know what I mean? And I had that one. Now you go into these fucking companies changing their names and their DOT numbers and shit all the time. So I'm going to use MDT as an example. When I worked at MDT, the name was MDT, right? Now you look on my DAC report right now, it's called Core 48 because they sold out. So they're called Core 48. Okay, I get it. Any company or any reports to DAC from now on should probably say Core 48. But the ones from the past should say MDT still. I don't know why they went into DAC and updated it to the new name. Because when I put on my application that I worked at MDT for 5 years, they look at MDT on my application and they see this Core 48 over here and they go, what's he trying to pull here? And I'm trying to explain to them, this is the same company, man. Like, they changed their name. With MDT, it's even worse because I worked all 3 divisions there. I did pharmaceutical, I did, dry van and reefer, and I did tanker there. Well, every time I switched divisions, even though I was at the same company and sometimes in the same truck, they put on my DAC, it makes it look like I had a different job every time. So then I gotta explain, it's the same company. I worked there for 5 years. It's just different divisions. Oh, okay, then they get that one. Well, you even go into this last one here was even more confusing because then when I put the name that was on the side of the truck that I worked for, then they pull up my PSP, they show these inspections at that same time that has a different company name. So then I'm like, well, that's the same company. They run under this name, but they run their DOT authority under this other name over here. It's the same company. It's just showing up different. Okay, well, put the DOT name on your application. So I updated that. Okay, I send it back. You wait like another day or whatever for them to come back with this other bullshit. They come back and they say, like, well, what's this other company, this lease company or whatever? I was like, that company right there is the same company I'm talking about. It says the company name on the side of the truck. They run under this DOT authority. But see, I don't legally work for that DOT authority or the name on the side of the truck. I work for this lease company that they lease their employees from. So that's showing on my DAC report. Well, you got to put that on your application as a job. Well, if you've ever used 10th Street, you can't overlap. And I was like, how would I do that? It'd be the same time frame because it's all the same company. So we go through that whole fucking mess on that whole deal. And we get that straightened out after I explained to them, like, this is not my fault that these companies have to change their DOT numbers like underwear and do all this weird shit to survive in this industry, man. Like, I'm telling you, I worked at this fucking place and this was the name of it. I could show you videos from YouTube with the truck, the name on the truck, and me driving the fucking thing if you want to. It's like, god damn, man. And when I say time, man, I'm talking weeks to get all this shit done, man. Yeah, that's pretty much that whole shit there. Now, like I said earlier, I'm in right now. I just gotta go through the whole hazmat stuff. Hopefully everything goes well with that whole deal. Get that out of the way. Overall, I'm happy with the situation. The money's not bad, really. It's probably better than over the road. Making $1,780 a week. I work 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. I go to work Monday night at 7 p.m. and I'm done at 7 a.m. Saturday morning, so I get like 2.5 days off. You are in an outdoor dock environment that is not heated or cooled or anything like that. It has a roof over it, basically that's it. But the dock doors are open and shit like that, so you're wearing your Carhartts and stuff, and you're working outside basically. So I understand a lot of people wouldn't like that. I don't necessarily need to be home I mean, some of y'all know, like, my dad lives with me, or we live together here, and he's an older fella, so he needs me around a little bit more. He does handle his own shit, so I could stay out on the road. But I'm not staying out for like a month like I was. You know, and that was ridiculous. Even when I got back, you know, and I was talking to Dad, I was kind of half expecting to be like, man, you quit another job. But he was like, do you realize that you've been there for 3 months? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, how many times you been home in 3 months? And I was like, I don't know. He goes, you've been home 3 times in 3 months. And they weren't long times. It was like a day or 2, or 2 days, you know. So even he was like, man, fuck that bullshit with that place. And it wasn't like I was out banging out huge money. I was just on the road sitting around waiting for their fucking customer freight bullshit, you know, so they could have me Johnny on the spot with that shit. So yeah, that's where we're at with all that. I just wanted to throw out an update on that whole deal. I'll do the best I can to come up with some content as we go. As you guys know, these local jobs or whatever, it's a little bit hard to come up with content. You can see more dumb shit and crazy shit out on the road to make content on YouTube about. You don't really run into that stuff. It's just kind of mundane, everyday job type shit, which is good. And I'm okay with it. And the whole theory, as I said, is to have some sort of pot to piss in when I do get too old to be able to work. Because looking homeless don't look all that cool to me. Even if my kids would help me out later in life, I do not want to be living with my children when I'm like an old man or whatever. That would fucking suck. So on and so on. So it's really time for me to simmer my lifestyle down, which I'm not having that much of a problem with, actually, because I'm just kind of fading out and getting older, you know. I don't even feel like doing half the shit I used to do. It was good. It was good fucking times, man. And yes, I made a lot of mistakes and I did a lot of dumb shit. Well, I'll be honest, I got a couple things I'm a little bit worried about on this TSA background check. But I did it. I'm glad I did it because I lived my life, you know, and even the bad stuff was better than just being in a mundane job my entire life. But it is time to fucking grow up, pay attention to what's going on, pay attention to my money more, and pay attention to my future, my health, and all that nonsense. And just be a boring ass grown up for a change. Shout out to Homeboy, I'm wearing your merch, huh? Anyway, I will catch you guys on the next one. I appreciate it.
No one can tell me